to make this video about atheism. So, been talking to a lot of people on the MBTI forum about atheism lately, especially a lot of the INTJs, and been talking a little bit about it on YouTube too. And I wanted to say my opinion because I hope it can encourage some people out there who really believe in atheism. I don't believe in atheism. I don't believe in atheism because I don't think it's realistic. A lot of people have been trying to punch into my head lately that atheism is the way to go if you are scientific and realistic. I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all for this main reason. Atheists claim that life spontaneously rose from non-life. Okay, let me explain that. A rock had a kid. So, I don't care if trillions of years have gone by. I don't think a rock would become self-replicating and evolve to the point where it had a moral consciousness. That doesn't make any sense to me. Atheists keep trying to tell me that I'm stupid lately. It's really been pissing me off. And they keep trying to say that the Bible is not in harmony with science. Well, the Bible actually is in perfect harmony with science. The Bible says that God created things according to their kinds when He created them. Now, here's why I believe this. We have seen species evolve. Yes, we have. We've seen many animals evolve. We've seen plants evolve. But we have never seen those evolve into a completely new species. We haven't seen a cat evolve into a monkey. We haven't seen a monkey evolve into a bat because, as the Bible says, God created things according to their kinds. So that's something to think about right there. How would we know this thousands of years ago? I think it's interesting that the Bible had that kind of knowledge. So that was one thing that's really kind of made me wonder about these atheists. And they tell me that, well, here's basically what most atheists seem to theorize. They think that somehow life got to this planet from somewhere else, or even if it didn't, that somehow it spontaneously started basically creating itself. It's just started happening, and it became self-replicating, and then it formed to where it had a conscience and had a sense of morality and developed dreams and hopes and even the ability to be self-aware. And I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't care what you say. It doesn't make sense to me either that non-life created life that started evolving and replicating itself and also making itself more complex. Okay, how can something make itself more complex by itself? How does a fish go from walking out of the ocean, crawling out of the ocean, however you want to put it, and then turning into a monkey, and then turning into a human, when there's no scientific gap fillers to support that, and the science of it doesn't make sense anyways. People in a laboratory have not been able to prove, to my knowledge, haven't been able to prove that, if you mix the right chemicals together, they just start self-replicating to the point where they become complex. And I don't think time can justify non-life coming from, or life coming from non-life, turning into a fish, crawling out of the ocean, turning into a monkey, and then turning into a human, and then turning into a moral creature who has a sense of morality. That's something that really aggravates me about you atheists. You can't justify morality if morality is subjective and doesn't have any kind of a higher power, a higher intelligent creator, designer, whatever you want to call it, to dictate to us how we should use our morality. You can talk about humanitarianism and all that other stuff. You can think I'm an idiot. I don't care. This is just my opinion. I'm not forcing it on anybody. And I'm not even insulting you, atheist. I just don't understand you. You don't make any sense to me. You'll have to forgive me for that. So please don't jump on my page and on this video disrespecting me, because I don't appreciate that. I'm not disrespecting you, even though I don't have any respect for your belief, no. Do I respect you as a person? Absolutely. If you want to believe in atheism, that's fine. That's your choice. I'm just telling you why I don't believe in atheism. I don't believe in atheism because I don't think that we would have this morality and the desire to live forever accidentally. I don't think that we want to live simply to reproduce. I don't want to live simply to reproduce. I love going to the beach. I love going to the city. I love listening to music, working on my cars, and doing cool stuff. I don't want to die. I love life. And I don't think that has anything to do with the perpetuation of my genetics at all. So I don't really have enough faith to be an atheist. I don't have enough faith to believe that life spontaneously evolved. And then they go, the atheists love to say, oh, well, you have the burden of proof. Well, okay, I don't think so. I think everybody who believes in something has the burden of proof. And you can tell me that you don't believe. You can sit here, atheist, and you can try to tell me all you want. I don't believe in anything. Well, you believe, or most of you believe, that God doesn't exist. You believe that based on the evidence that you have. So don't sit here and try to tell me that you don't have a belief. Everybody has a belief. I believe that God exists because of the evidence that I have seen and the evidence that has been demonstrated to me scientifically. If you disagree with this, that is your opinion. I respect it. And I respect mine. If you don't want to believe that, then that's fine. If you want to believe, based on the evidence that you've seen and the science that you've studied, that life arose spontaneously and eventually became what it is today, that's your opinion. But back to the moral argument, which is one of my favorites. Humans have a sense of morality. Most of us do. I don't think that's accidental. Under the law of Darwin, survival of the fittest, which is an evolutionary, atheistic, whatever belief, survival of the fittest. So if Hitler went and killed all the Jews, he did his race a favor. He did his people a favor and his group a favor, right? Am I misunderstanding something? You guys try to tell me that God does not exist and that I have the burden of proof, but I think you also have the burden of proof, going back to what I was saying a minute ago. Because, you can't prove God doesn't exist. You can't prove that somebody intelligent that has existed forever didn't create things intelligently and by design to, be what they are. You can't prove that to me. I haven't met an atheist yet who can sit here and say, hey, Deasis, hey, I can prove to you that we, evolved spontaneously and that there is no God. You can't prove there is no God. If you're going to tell me that I have to prove there is a God, even though I believe based on the evidence of what I've studied from the Bible and from science that God is real, then you have to go and you have to prove, that there is no God. You guys keep telling me about the boogeyman and Santa Claus. You keep telling me about, the Cookie Monster, the Tooth Fairy, and all that. We're not talking about fairy tales. We're talking about the, belief that life did not spontaneously create itself and that non-life did not create life. That's what we're talking about. So don't spread the argument to something ridiculous. Let's keep it real here. Let's talk about where this argument is. The argument between atheism and theism is that life came from life. Life always existed eternally. It was created according to its kind. Atheism. Life came from non-life and evolved spontaneously into the complex creatures that we are today, without any sense of designer or direction. It just decided to do that to itself. The eye just got more complex. Um, you know, we just decided to become conscious all of a sudden. We decided that it's not okay to go out and kill people. So, forgive me if that doesn't make any sense. Because to me it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, that's about all I have to say. So, I hope this video encourages some. And to you atheists out there, I don't really know what to tell you. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm better than you. I'm not going to sit here and say any of that. I'm just going to simply say this is what I believe based on what I've studied. Yes, it is a very refined study. I'm not sitting here saying this out of ignorance. Study of science and study of the Bible convinced me that there is a creator. It did not disprove one. To me, it proved one. And no scientific evidence in the world has proved to me this whole teapot theory that, that there is no God and that life arose spontaneously, and that there is definitely proof that there is no God.